Welcome to A Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. I'm Evan J. Cholfin from Lexhammer, where we help brands that help you live healthier. Today, I'm joined by Amy Leclerc, co-owner of Sit Still Kids Salon, who's revolutionizing the children's haircut experience. Amy, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So how did Sit Still Kids Salon get started?
Sit Still Kids Salon got started a long time ago at this point. The original location was opened in a Portland suburb in 2007. It is the brainchild of my now business partner, New Vo, who at the time was the mom of twin girls, 2 years old, huge heads of hair, nowhere to get their hair cut. And like so many great ideas that are born out of scratching somebody's own itch. He was a highly creative human being with great taste, style, vision, and realized there was a real gap in the marketplace for a fun, modern, elevated salon experience for kids, which really just didn't exist then, and really doesn't exist now. And so we're out to change that. In 2017, so 10 years after she had started her business, I was introduced to her through a mutual friend. I have a background in franchising. I had spent the better part of those 10 years at Bar 3, which is a boutique fitness franchise also based in the Portland area, and had worked alongside those founders, helping them build and scale quite quickly, and learned franchising pretty accidentally, say baptism by fire, building the plane while flying it. All of those metaphors were really true for my experience. But when New and I met, had really understood what made a franchise enterprise successful. I also happen to be a client at Sit Still. I have 2 kids. I had brought my son to Sit Still for his first haircut and really been blown away. I did have a moment back in 2014 when he had his first haircut, experiencing Sit Still as a client and really thinking whoever is doing this, whoever's behind this is really onto something. So I was really excited when New and I were connected and felt like, you know what? We've got all the puzzle pieces to make this happen in a big way.
Yeah, definitely. Were there any particular things about the business that you said, yes, this is franchisable?
Yeah. A couple things that stood out to me right away about why it seemed like such an enticing business model. She has a service retail hybrid approach, meaning ample square footage was dedicated not just to hair care for kids, but toys and gifts and a lot of surprise and delight, curated items that are really cool. They're not necessarily the thing you're going to find at the average toy store or on Amazon. And I thought that was really interesting. And as a client who left always spending $100+ after getting my kid's haircut and buying some oil for my hair and a baby gift or a toy for one of my kiddos, I just knew firsthand, wow, she's really capturing clients and not only delivering really over the top services, but that retail component I found was really interesting to the business model as well.
Wow. So I understand you have franchisees across 14 states throughout the U.S. How do you select and qualify potential franchisees?
Yeah, I'd say that is arguably the most important part of the franchise process is aligning yourself with future franchise owners who are in lockstep with your vision and have the wherewithal to take the blueprint and bring it to life in their community. And we spend a lot of time vetting our franchisees. And that's everything from understanding how they found us, which back to your question, like how are people learning about this and how are we taking them through the process? What I have found, and really was my experience at Bar 3 as well, is people who have touched your brand through the client experience and are intrigued by the franchise model are often your best franchisees because they understand it from the client perspective first. There was something about that experience that was so memorable. And that is really what it's all about. That's what we're selling. So I have really found that inside out, organic approach to growth, especially in the beginning, is really the most optimal way to sell franchisees into the program. But we, like I said, we take our time. It's getting to know them, not just financially, but what's their experience? How are they tied to their community? I'd say that is really at the top of my list. This is not an endeavor for somebody that doesn't have the wherewithal to get out into their community and get people excited about Sit Still. That's a big part of opening certainly your first salon, but even multiple salons within a marketplace take a lot of grassroots efforts in the beginning to open and open really strong. So I'm looking for people with just inherent leadership attributes and the ability to roll up their sleeves, be gritty, get it done, and be really smart about how they do that.
Yeah. What do you think's been most effective in building trust with both parents and franchisees?
I think leading with expectations, and I do that from the beginning. My first call with potential franchisees is really talking about the idea of mutual trust and respect as the tenets of the relationship. You can't have it on one side and not the other. You really can't build a relationship without alignment around values and around a North Star of why we are doing what we are doing, which is to reimagine what it means for kids to get their haircut. And when you can get buy-in around that, and we show all of our franchisees, we have spent ample resources to create a robust blueprint, a roadmap as to how to be successful, taking Sit Still and building it and launching it in your community. And it's trusting that we are working with the right people who have the ability to execute. We build all the programming, business plan is there. Franchisee's job is execution of that plan. Building that trust is really by demonstrating that our intentions, our vision, our strategy are rooted in that client experience that is so memorable and wows people that Sit Still will rapidly become the only place people think about when it comes to get their kids' haircut.
So how do you maintain brand consistency across all locations?
Yeah, that's really important. As you scale a concept, it really needs to be clear what the guidelines are. And that happens through training your owners, training their teams, having your owners train their people on everything from how we build collateral, fonts, colors, etc. Really holding that under lock and key at the franchisor level, putting guardrails around it so there's nothing left for interpretation. Then really just giving our franchisees the ability to be creative in the spaces where that's appropriate, but being really clear as to what those spaces are. Oftentimes you can see as you scale a brand that you have people, stakeholders who get excited about certain parts of the business that allow them to get a little bit distracted from their real reason for being, which is around delivering that client experience. We take care of everything else. There's no question as to what your external signage is going to look like. We have that dialed. There's no question as to what your salon webpage looks like on our website. It's dialed. These are all templates. These resources all exist. We've spent a lot of time, money, and built some really, really incredible tools that are why you franchise in the first place. So that you don't have to think about that stuff, but, redirecting so that people are focused on the things that matter and leaving that brand consistency piece up to us. That's how you build a successful brand at mass.
On a different note, what's been your biggest challenge in scaling the franchise operation?
I think the biggest challenge is staffing. That's not unique to Sit Still, but the last several years have been somewhat disruptive in terms of the labor force and what that means in our niche industry within the greater salon industry. Not everybody who goes to cosmetology school gets excited about the idea of working with children. And so we've had to work extra hard around that recruitment piece. And I do think that's the area of the business that is most daunting for our franchisees. It's like, I know 1,000 families that will come to my salon. I have no clue who's going to work there. And so we train on that. Recruiting is a huge part of building your business. And the reality is, to be a Sit Still owner means you are always recruiting stylists. That is just part of the gig. They're there. The stylists are out there, and our competitive edge is the culture that we've built, the brand that somebody can take pride in working for. And the reality is we take really, really good care of our people because that's who's taking care of our clients. We take good care of our owners who take good care of their stylists. We know the byproduct is a happy client.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very important. But what's been your biggest marketing hurdle or hurdles?
I think we've tried a lot digitally that you just kind of have to test, and algorithms are changing quicker than some of us can keep up with. Hyper local advertising is something that we have really just honed in on. I think we have historically put a lot of emphasis on the grassroots piece of opening a business, which we all know is really important. But where we have seen the most immediate ROI is through digital ads. Instagram has been incredible for Sit Still. Our brand is really visually appealing. It gets people to stop and look, oh, that's a kid's hair salon. It's so cute. It's so minimal. It's so modern. There's a lot of feedback we get about how the brand presents. So digital ads have been really great for us, but I can't say we knew out of the gate exactly what that strategy needed to look like. We've learned now that we have 26 locations open, really what the spend and really where that spend needs to live to see the biggest ROI.
What common challenges do new franchisees usually face?
Like opening any new retail concept, it's synonymous to having another child. I mean, it needs its owner in the beginning, making decisions that nobody else can make, and that can be really stressful. I think back to that recruitment piece, building a team and finding that momentum with enough people working on your business that, you've created culture. I think that is what takes some time in the beginning. And we've all been in scenarios where you've hired maybe the wrong person and not being fearful that you're going to have to go replace that person and find somebody else. But that's the best thing for your team and for your culture. Owners having to step in and work front desk. It's like any new business in the beginning. I don't know that there's anything super unique about the challenges that one faces when they are bringing a business to life in their community. But I do think that stylist development piece, like so many things, is the biggest opportunity, but oftentimes the biggest challenge for an owner.
Yeah. Going back to the staffing challenge for a minute, what do you think you've done to try to solve that issue? What's worked, what hasn't? I'm curious to know more.
The beauty of our business model is you don't need lots of stylists for the model to tick and be profitable. You can have a handful of people. Some of them will be full-time. Some of them will be part-time. Our schedule is very reflective of peak hours for moms and their children. So we can have less people working during school hours. As you can imagine, in most markets, you can service the 2 to 5-year-olds during the day. Really, your peak hours are after school and the weekends. The weekends, back to schools are Super Bowl. The weekends are happy hours. We're packed, and you can design a schedule around that. So the beauty is you can hire people who have other jobs, who do something else, and come to you when they're going to make money. And that doesn't mean you've got even 10 people working for you. A salon that's got 6 to 8 stylists working full and part-time is almost 100% utilization at times.
How do you recruit those people? What is your usual method for getting those people on board?
I mean, you are looking for them in every place possible. There's a lot of websites dedicated to this industry. You are recruiting hard from the cosmetology schools. This is a really, really incredible experience for somebody straight out of school who otherwise might be going to apprentice at an adult salon and not make any money, and they're washing hair and sweeping floors. Here, they get this sit still training and get to cut kids' hair as a way to really hone their skills. Now, that does not mean that we have a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing on the floor. That's not true. In order to get a license in any state in this country, you have to demonstrate proficiency. But this is really a good gig. They're employees. They're not renting chairs. They're not figuring out how much to put away for taxes.
Yeah, that's great. So what are your franchise expansion targets?
We want to continue to grow and to continue to honor the natural momentum that we are feeling now that we have 26 open, another 50 in development. I would like to see 200 sit stills open over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. I think that's highly doable. But back to one of your first questions, it's about finding the right franchisees and being very discerning, intentional, and making business decisions with integrity that honor everybody who has taken the risk to join us to this day. I always think about them. When I'm talking to a new potential franchisee, it's the question I ask myself is, am I doing right by the 26 other owners who have made this their life by bringing this new person in? And the beauty of asking yourself that is, as I have found, we are finding more and more qualified people who are going to make us better than we last year. So that whole idea of laws of attraction really comes into play here.
I'm curious, how do you, besides the laws of attraction, how are you finding those people?
We do Instagram ads. We are on LinkedIn. We email our clients, and we have an internal referral fee with our current owners to inspire them to think about who they know. They're the right profile. 6 degrees of separation is real. We've sold a handful of locations based on one of our first owners who happened to go to a college. All of her sorority sisters thought this looked like a really fun endeavor and have heard from a lot of people just that way. So it really is inside out. We are starting to put more behind franchise sales. But what we're doing is working. So I think it's more of a double down than maybe hiring a broker, going to a bunch of franchise shows. That's never really been my MO. I'm not fully against that, but I think there are other things we could be doing to present Sit Still to future entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely. So what trends in children's personal care excite you the most?
I get really excited about what it is that we are doing and that we can do within the 4 walls of our salons. It's a really fun time to think about kids more than ever having some agency over how they express themselves from a style position, from a hair position. And we are there to serve these kids and all of their hopes and dreams about their hair. There are no rules. We are really open when it comes to what it is that kids come to us for, and make no assumptions about just because you're a girl, you want long hair, and a boy short hair. Really, anything goes. We've played around with everything from sparkle strands, temporary hair color. We're bringing in clip-in colored hair extensions. We are definitely following trends that fit within our brand DNA. We do mini manis. We have temporary tattoos, cool events. We've partnered with really, really incredible hair care products, nail polish. It's really endless in terms of who we can lock arms with to serve these kiddos who now more than ever really feel like the world's their stage. And it is. Many years ago, parents weren't taking pictures of their kids on their phone and putting it online. For better or worse, they are today. And Sit Still is creating a very age-appropriate environment for parents to celebrate their kids and for kids to feel like rock stars.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. What role will technology play in your future growth?
Aside from like robots cutting hair, I think you can imagine like everything, obviously, from the booking of appointments to the high curation opportunity for how the experience is delivered for a child, the whole family that comes, how we're marketing ourselves. I just see it growing endlessly. AI, I mean, it's the wild west in terms of technology. What I sort of put that up against is the reality that the service is still provided by a human being. This is still very much a one-to-one service model. And that's where the magic is sort of the organic engagement that our stylists have with their clients and their families. If technology can help control all the other variables around that experience, I'm here for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is crucial to get right in the next year?
What is crucial to get right in the next year is probably a three-pronged answer. We need to continue to franchise to people who have the ability to scale Sit Still. That means the financial wherewithal, the tenacity, and just the skill set to bring multiple locations to their market. That is the path of least resistance for us as a franchisor to get Sit Still into all of the appropriate markets in a timely manner. Right people, right locations. Location matters. Co-tenancy matters. Where we put these is the number one indicator as to the kind of experience a parent can expect. When we're in a co-tenancy with a Whole Foods, we know we automatically have associated ourselves with a brand that people are willing to pay more for premium brands, premium products, premium ingredients. It's a shared psychography. When we put a Sit Still next to a grocery outlet, which we never would do, and this is no shame on grocery outlet because I go there and I love it, but that's not where we need to be. The location is crucial. And then on top of that, I think how we market these salons, how we attract clients who become a lifetime value that is so important to us by repeat business. If we can get a 2-year-old boy to come get his hair cut 10 times a year with us, like that's our business. Our ability to attract that child's parent to us sooner and make it that much easier to rebook and come back is just part of this ecosystem. So it's right people up front, right location, right marketing plan. The services are there, and we would love to launch our own line of products for children and their families that are labeled Sit Still and sold within our salons. So hopefully that's something that comes to fruition too.
Absolutely. So how are you positioning Sit Still Kids for the future?
We're very much living still in the day-to-day, but the future is continuing doing what we're doing. We have just scratched the surface. 26 locations is nothing compared to where we could be and will be. I think it's staying focused and trusting that what we're doing is working. And it's just a double down on what's working really well. And remembering that nothing is too precious. We need to evolve as technology evolves, as our clients evolve, as the climate evolves. But we're not a trend-based concept. Kids have hair, it grows, it needs to be cut, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And there's nobody better positioned to do it than us. We've invested in what it takes to deliver an over-the-top experience. And now it's just a matter of rolling out that template.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for you in the future of the company.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's episode of Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. A huge thank you to Amy Leclerc for sharing her insights and the amazing work Sit Still Kids Salon is doing to help people live healthier, happier lives. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit. And if you're a brand or business making an impact in health, wellness, or personal care, we'd love to help you grow. Connect with me at luxammer.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep making a difference.